Hey folks, Doomed Wizard here. Back in the early 90s when me and my friends were all playing second edition D&D, I was in our local bookstore slash game shop when I stumbled across this little gem. My buddies and I played this game so much that we outgrew its capacity to entertain us. So created our own mercenary role-playing game and played it for a couple of years and eventually just kind of drifted away from it. Recently, I thought it would be fun to recreate that game and maybe give it to you guys in the Dune Wizard Society, but it's too jinky. I didn't really like it. It's based on percentiles. I don't know what I was thinking back then. So instead, I came up with this Operation Snake Eyes. But before we get into all that, I want to give a shout out to this video sponsor, Into the AM. Into the AM started off with a few graphic shirts with a focus on vibrant colors and wild designs back in 2012, and has grown to offer a diverse range of clothing that has gone beyond simply graphic design. Their mission is to provide a wide selection of high quality clothing of various styles and preferences. Comfortable, casual, and uniquely designed, these shirts will quickly become your favorites, like they've become mine. Into the AM are committed to maintaining the highest level of quality in everything they create. Take it from your pal, the Dune Wizard, they're succeeding. Check out their diverse collection of graphic designs, polos, and button ups for yourself. I seldom go to one of my Saturday night game nights without wearing one of their graphic tees. Regardless of your RPG of choice, you're sure to find something that fits your game. And if you use promo code Doomed Wizard, you'll get an additional 10% off your total purchase. That's like walking into a store and telling them, Doomed Wizard sent me. Okay, so full disclosure, when I was doing research to putting Operation Snake Eyes together, I thought it would be interesting to contact the guy that created this game. He was an interesting fellow, and the less said about him, the better. So we're just gonna move on from there. Also, if you haven't figured it out yet, this game is a homage to Operation Wolf, which was the greatest video game ever invented in the 80s, if you ask me, and a love letter to 80s action movies. We can disagree on a lot of things, but I think it's just science that action movies were perfected in the 80s. Operation Snake Eyes is a one sheet tabletop RPG inspired by, you guessed it, the greatest military themed first person shooter arcade game of the 80s. Rules light with an emphasis on combat, the mission commander, or MC, sends the player's highly trained special operative, or OP, on covert missions against overwhelming odds to retrieve hostages, topple drug cartels, eliminate terrorists, and so on. Operation Snake Eyes can be played with a minimum of 2 players, but the more the merrier. Making an op. Basically, you can put them on a 3x5 card, and you're probably going to want to buy a whole pack of them because you're going to use them because the the fatality rate in this game is pretty high at first level. But all all ops start out at first level. For hit point, you have 10 hit points. Um, More on that in a minute. And your defense is 8. You have an attack bonus of 0 at first level. And as far as names go, give your op a name, but don't get too attached to them at first level. When it comes to equipping your character, all ops start out with a pistol, an assault rifle, or an automatic shotgun, a submachine gun, a rocket launcher, 6 grenades, a knife, and a med kit. Just picture Arnold in Commando. I have the list of here's your basic weapons and ranges and damages. And damages are set. I wanted to make this game combat run as fast as possible. So rather than individual damage rolls and stuff like that, there's just points. You can adjust them however you want if you don't agree with them, or you can add more to it. It's up to you. The other thing I did was I eliminated ammunition, or at least running out of bullets, or counting bullets. In this case, if you roll a 2 or snake eyes, your gun comes up bust. It's either jammed or damaged somehow. And blast radius attacks are 20 foot, and everyone inside of them takes the same amount of damage. This comes into play later on. For vehicles, it's pretty standard. Remember, this is the 80s, so there's not a lot of super high tech, gear and equipment. Vehicle types: Jeep, truck, helicopter, and plane. Get to the chopper! In combat, the players of the MC roll a d6. 1 through 3, the players go first. 4 to 6, all the enemies go first. This gives you that cool thing where the danger is the enemy could go twice, and that would be bad. The bonus is you could go twice and really put a hurt on the enemies. Attackers roll 2d6 against their enemy's defense. If you roll above the enemy's defense, you hit, and the enemy's defense is lowered by the number beyond the current defense. So in other words, if you rolled a 10 to hit and their defense is 8, it drops down to 6 and so on. Again, the whole thing was designed to make it easy and fast. You could hit multiple targets within a 15-foot area with assault shotguns and automatic weapons, that kind of thing. But the enemy gets a +2 to their defense, and the damage is the same for everybody. Once you're knocked out, you got to roll 8 or higher 3 rounds after you've been knocked out to wake up. Concealment makes it harder to hit your character or hit your opponent, and darkness adds a +1 to everybody's defense. You play Operation Snake Eyes on a big map or a piece of graph paper, depending on what you have. We play it on a 1 inch by 1 inch map that's the size of my table. So movement is broken down into basically 12 squares, half if you're sneaking. Schlepping bodies, no one gets left behind. Carrying the dead/wounded buddy or hostage reduces an OP's movement by half. And then you re-roll initiative at the end of each round. At the end of each adventure, you heal all your hit points back. You can also heal your hit points with a med kit. Here's where the video game thing comes in. Upon creation, ops have 3 lives, and respawn 1 round after reaching 0 hit points. Once all 3 are spent, the OP is dead for real. But good soldiers never really die. They just go to hell and await new orders. NPCs, on the other hand, only have 1 life. And at the end of each successful mission, ops gain an additional life, up to a total of 6, an attack bonus +1 per level, up to +4, and 1 hit point per level, up to 4. Now, as for the role of the MC, when creating missions, some factors to consider are objective, location, time limit, obstacles, and a final boss battle, as well as an exit strategy. The beauty of this game is you don't have to lay out everything. You can literally just have your NPCs written out on one sheet and just adjust the numbers as you need them. Draw it on your own map where they're located, like if they're infiltrating to rescue hostages, where the most amount would be. This game really isn't about role playing in combat so much as surviving combat. When it comes to actual role play, you can basically do whatever you want. You tell your mission commander that you want to go to Aruba once the adventure's over, then you go to Aruba. You want to get a martini, you get a martini. Whatever you want. And the GM being the one that says yay or nay as to whether you could accomplish it or not. Here's something I talked about earlier about the grenade attacks. If you'll notice, final bosses typically have really high defenses, and sometimes they're hard to hit. But a well-placed grenade will pretty much put the kibosh on any big boss man. And of course, there's going to be times when your players are going to like want to do something, and you're not going to have the slightest idea how to handle it, and there's no rule for it because again, there's only like a half a dozen rules in this game. I'm a huge fan of difficulty challenges and target numbers. So I created one from 3 to 12. You know, 3 being you can do it in your sleep, to 12 being I'll see you in hell. And finally, in the event of mission failure, if the mission is a failure, with the OPs winding up dead or imprisoned or whatever, the MC may want to send in another group of ops as soon as possible. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. I went ahead and put this in the Dune Wizard Society, so if you're interested in it and you want to give it a shot and test my rules, go over there and get yourself a copy. Um, I have a couple of games written out for it that we've played through. I'm going to be putting those up there pretty soon. I just want to make them look, presentable. Whether you do or not, I hope you enjoyed this little tour of my game, Operation Snake Eyes. Hey, folks, if you like the channel and you haven't yet, why not do all the YouTube things like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that little bell icon. And while you're at it, why not head over to the Doomed Wizard Society and be the first wizard on your block to have an official society membership certificate, as well as my one-page RPG Operation Snake Eyes. I'll be adding more exclusive content each month, like one-page dungeons, OSR hack superhero characters, as well as my Kids on Bike style RPG Strangeville. And if you're looking for some gothic fun, check out the 5e compatible adventure I illustrated, Council of Bones. If 5e is not your thing, it can easily be converted to almost any OSR style system. Links are in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching.